The R12 NineT Option 719 is the latest in the heritage lineup for BMW. But how does it compare to the less confusingly named R12? So the Boxer engine, I love it. I loved it in this bike, and I actually found it a bit more sprightly than the engine in the R12. Did you find the same?
I definitely noticed it one time when I was just sitting at lights. I think it was only the second time I've ridden it, and I just really put all the throttle on, and I almost fell off the back of that bike. I was really surprised. I didn't expect there to be so much power in it.
Yeah, they're good. I mean, great mid-range.
Yeah.
Great mid-range power in these bikes.
Yeah.
Which is where you want it for real-world
Exactly.
riding.
Yeah, this is my big thumbs up. It's usable power.
Yeah.
Yeah, slightly different tune to the R12, I agree with you.
The R12 felt a bit more relaxed, particularly when I had it in roll mode. Though this one's got different rider modes, but I think the mapping is probably very similar.
Yeah.
So it's got a rain mode, a road mode, and a dynamic mode. But yeah, you put it in dynamic and it does feel just more lively, more sprightly. No, 100%.
Snappy throttle response.
Yeah, definitely.
Too,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is weird for a Boxer because it's got quite a lot of stuff to get moving.
Yeah, I think that's why I didn't expect it. And being I don't want to brag, but my second Boxer that I've been on now, I'm pretty used to them.
Talk to us when you've ridden an R18.
I'll get there.
Done. Now, I actually really liked the wide handlebars. I thought it gave you really great control.
It did.
Made lane filtering a bit of an issue, but the control of those bars was excellent. What do we think of those?
They were very wide, I agree, but I was surprised that it's still quite a nimble bike.
Yeah.
And I think between the nimbleness and those wide handlebars, I was able to get around the cars
Yeah, you could sort
easily.
of dance around them a little bit. Yeah.
Even at low speed, which I found quite impressive for a kind of a reasonably sized Boxer.
Boxers handle well at low speed because of that low center of gravity, so I don't
Yeah,
find that
true.
a massive surprise.
The wide bars kind of ties into what we were saying before, that mid-range
Mm.
speed, that usable power. You've got great leverage when you're having a spirited ride to move your body and your arms, give yourself the best mechanical advantage.
Yeah.
I love that it's got cruise control as standard on these bikes. Nice touch, it works well, it's not adaptive, that's fine. And one of the things I love, no ugly phone mount, but it is an option.
Yeah, but why would you option it, Ross? Because you could get a Beeline Moto 2 mount instead.
You could, well done, Lucas. Yeah, look, I think that those phone mounts they put on them are awful. So the fact that this doesn't have that, I think was great.
Yep.
The brakes, what do you think of the brakes?
It's a big, heavy bike, but it stops like it's a small, light bike.
Yeah.
And the ABS isn't incredibly invasive like it normally is. Sometimes ABS gets a bit eager, especially on the rear.
It doesn't kick in early at all.
No, not at all.
Particularly on the rear. I thought the brakes were really, really good and certainly pulled the bike up for what is, there's a bit of weight to the bike.
Yeah.
Now, I think the thing that you and I both really liked was the styling of this bike. I loved the brushed aluminium tank.
Yep.
I loved the red frame.
I do like that.
Yeah.
That is cool.
I love the twin clocks.
Yep.
Love the way the seat looks.
Yep.
I just think it's a stylish bike. I've always liked the look of the R9Ts when BMW first released them 10 years ago, and this one's the same.
I like the Option 719 mirrors. That's probably...
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
Yeah. Option 719 is one of those things where you're getting an expensive bike and putting more on. But in this case, I'd only get the Option 719 because it looks amazing. Like, as you said, red frame, brushed tank. Only available on the 719. It looks awesome.
Great suspension.
Yeah.
Fully adjustable front and rear. What do you think of the suspension?
Was it better suspension than the R12?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same on the back there, right?
I was gonna say, yeah, but it was the front that
Yeah.
was the real harsh on the R12. So this one was a bit smoother.
So I completely adjusted both ways the rear on this, and I found it really smooth, much better than the R12.
Yeah.
And the front was excellent suspension.
Yeah, I thought the front was perfect, and the rear, you've got an adjusting wheel, super easy, make it stiffer, and it was great.
So
really handled well. It's got a great suite of electronics. It's everything that you do want with none of the crap that you don't want. You've got the cruise control, 3 rider modes, no nonsense, ABS and traction control,
LED
and
lights.
LED lights.
So in terms of the comfort, I actually found the seat super comfortable. Riding position, great. Again, it's that slightly lean forward, like just a teeny tiny bit.
Sure.
And yeah, I found it just the way that the seat sits, you're kind of in the bike. And I think that's sort of to do with the rear cowl, that because it's like such an abrupt up and around, you're really sitting in the bike.
But it's also to do with that big tank.
Yeah.
It's like a big
Yeah,
tank.
you're surrounded by that bike.
Yeah.
In a good way, like it feels nice and you feel, nice and secure in it.
Yeah, I found the rider ergonomics really good. You know,
Yeah.
your feet are right where they need to be. The wide handlebars are right where your hands want to be. So dynamics, great. Made it great on the highway. Made it great through the twisties and made it great in traffic.
Yeah, nothing to add really. It's spacious. The Boxer engine doesn't get in the way, which I've experienced with other Boxers, so that was a plus too.
All right, so this Boxer has a quick shifter. Who knew?
Typical Boxer quick shifter. Ordinary till fourth.
Yeah, it was rough.
I personally wouldn't want to pay that much money and then experience that quick shifter.
Yeah, I wouldn't use
Especially-
it, right?
Sorry, BMW, it's a great bike, but I mean, really? Clunk! Now we're going to talk about the clutch. It's not terrible. I know you're going to disagree. I just find that it lacks modulation that other manufacturers have nailed for years now. It seems like there's quite a lot of things happening at the end of the lever's travel. I'm sure you can adjust it.
Yeah.
It's usable, and it's not like it's the end of the world, but it's not the most amazing clutch I've ever felt, not by a long shot.
I did not enjoy it at all, for the record. It was a real hard clutch, especially, again, because my primary riding is in traffic commuting. My hand was so sore after riding for 10 minutes in heavy traffic.
So you're on your bike every day.
Every day, but I'm lucky to get over 60.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah, I did not enjoy the clutch at all.
So I didn't have a massive problem with it, but I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
mean, for me, this bike really shines when you're out on the open road. So you know, you're up in using that quick shifter. It's not such an issue. But yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
The mirrors, really hard to move, just like the Option 719 ones on the
Yep.
R12, really hard to move. Now, I actually was talking to Kieran at Bike Biz. I said, mate, we couldn't move these mirrors. And he was like, no, mate, you just have to really yank on them. So he said they were quite firm. So we twisted them and we got them moving quite, easily once we were confident that we were twisting them the right way.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're really hard to move. But they should loosen up a bit. But get them in position and then you're done. So we love the width of the handlebars in terms of handling, but they are so wide it did make lane filtering a bit of an issue because they stick out way further
They do.
than the actual Boxer engine.
Which is good because at least you can figure it out pretty well of like, well, if my bars aren't going to fit, I'm not fitting.
Yeah.
It's a very expensive feeler gauge.
Now the hill start feature you don't like. I loved it, but you don't like it at all.
It just makes you stall. It just makes you stall. You let the clutch out, I'm ready for action, and it's holding it on the brake. And then I'm like, what's going on? Clunk, and it stalls, and I look like an idiot. It's not needed. I wish I could turn it off.
I don't think I've ever stalled it once with that hill start feature.
Does it automatically kick in or is this something
You've got to
you have
engage it.
Engage.
Yeah,
Oh,
with
I
the
didn't
handbrake.
know it
Well,
happened.
handbrake or 2 taps on the rear brake.
Yeah.
And that engages it.
Oh, God.
And then you let the clutch out and throttle on and it holds it, but you just got to keep throttling.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're probably doing wrong. You're probably going, oh, what's going on? And not throttling enough. You just got to keep throttling.
It does take quite a bit to
It does.
throttle out.
It does, 100%. Having said that, I don't think this bike needs the hill start. Like, I like it, but I don't think it needs it. Now, Tegan, the looks. Lucas and I quite like the styling and the looks.
Yeah, look, I know I'm the minority here. I don't know, like there's something about it that when I first saw it, I was like, that looks really cool. And then I got up close and I'm like, it just looks like a combination of like 3 different bikes. Like it kind of has the red framing of like a Ducati Monster. Some of the side paneling looked like a Ducati Scrambler towards the back. Mm-hmm. And then I don't know what the hell the brushed metal tank looked like. It's huge. It looks like a part off an airplane. Like, I don't know. It's a weird amalgamation of
That's cool,
different
though.
styles.
No, I think it's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess if you were going to customize a bike, I would like to do it myself rather than buy one that's already customized to someone else's preference.
But this is the only way BMW can make a soulful bike is by the paint job or by giving it a Boxer. Otherwise, it just rides like a dentist is supposed to own it, which...
A lot of
well,
dentists do.
I'll stop there, yeah, I was going to say.
So in terms of enjoyment for me, look, the first time I got on this bike, it was in dynamic, and at super low speed, taking it out of the garage, I think it almost stalled out, like from cold. It was a rough, like, introduction to this bike. Getting it out onto the road, sore hand. That clutch just was not fun. Powering that engine was amazing. I thoroughly enjoyed it once I got moving. So it's a little tricky for me to say because I only rode this in the city.
Yeah.
So look, for me, it's going to sit at a 7. I actually enjoyed the R12 more. Possibly that's because it was the first Boxer engine that I'd been on and it was all a bit new. So look, yeah, I'm sitting at a 7.
I reckon you'd be higher than that if you took it out in the country.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I get it. The heavy clutch, wide bars. Yeah, if you're commuting, it makes it a bit tricky. So I get that.
Yep.
So for me, it's an interesting one because I nearly bought an R9T back in 2014. Back when I've got an R65, I thought I'll sell that, get an R9T. For various reasons, I didn't sell the R65. I decided to customise it, and I'm so happy I did. Look, I love the R9T, but I didn't like it as much as the R12. The R12 for me had better rider ergonomics and just suited me a little bit more. And I felt like the R12 was just a cooler bike. So for me, the R12 NineT gets an 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
7, 8. Lucas, 9?
No. I disagree. I thought the R12 9T option 719 was better than the R12.
Yeah, okay.
It felt a little bit sportier. Yeah, it looked cooler. If we just look at the performance, what you get, what it looks like, and how it performs, I'm giving it an 8. If I did bring my bias into it, my biggest complaint would be the price. It's over 30 grand for the option 719.
Yeah.
And if you look at the colorways available on the other R12s, I think the option 719 is the only one for me. But for 30 grand, there's quite a few other things you could buy. From BMW, the S1000 RR is 26,995.
Very different bike and very different demographic that's looking at that bike though.
Yeah, agreed. But in terms of equipment and power and style, I think the S1000 RR probably trumps this R12 9T. Then if you look at other manufacturers, particularly in that retro segment, the XSR 900 GP is $10,000 cheaper, similar power, better quick shifter, arguably looks a little bit better, more unique. So put the price aside, it's an 8. Bring the price in, I can't say.
We'll leave the price aside. So we've done quite a bit of BMW R Series content, so check out this playlist of rider stories and reviews that are all about this iconic German brand.